She has spent the past year representing Rhode Island as Miss Rhode Island Teen 2017. Just this past weekend, she handed over the crown, but she has so much on the horizon. I'm so excited to talk to Alexa Papigiotis. Come on out. Hi, Alexa. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Miss Rhode Island Teen 2017, you've had a crazy year.
Crazy.
Tell us a little bit about what this past year has been like for you.
Well, it's been incredible. It was a dream come true. It was everything I've ever wanted. So to actually have it and be crowned actually 1 year ago yesterday, it was amazing. So I spent the year doing a ton of appearances and influencing younger teens and teens my age. I've spoken at schools about my platforms, which is anxiety and bullying, which was good. And that was really fun. And I worked on my fitness. I had to exercise and eat healthy. And I went to a lot of interview coaching and walk-in coaching. So it was a very busy year. I mean, also fun things like traveling to Vegas for Miss USA and going to New York Fashion Week last winter. So it was busy, but it was absolutely incredible.
That is awesome. Yeah. And it is such a dream come true, and you get sort of propelled into this busy, fast lifestyle.
Yeah, it's like a whirlwind. It really is. You just get pushed in and it's like, whoa! But it's fun. It's so much fun. I loved it.
Oh, that is so cool. So tell us a little bit about your pageant experience and how this kind of came about for you.
Well, it was kind of out of nowhere. I never thought I'd be a pageant girl or be considered a pageant queen. I always loved being on stage. I was a dancer. I was a cheerleader. I loved to just perform. So I'm like, you know what? I love getting dressed up. I love doing my makeup and hair and wearing pretty dresses, and I love being on stage. So let's try it out. And one of my cheerleading coaches, actually John Chilfate, he totally pushed me towards it when he became part of the staff. He's the assistant choreographer at Miss Rhode Island USA. And so I was like, you know what? Fine, let me try it. I made top 15 last year at my first pageant, and then this year I came back and won. So
amazing.
It was great, and I actually found that pageantry is my passion, and being on stage and helping people and getting that opportunity.
Yeah, it does. It gives you a sort of window into the accessibility for you to work with kids and promote your causes. So.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about your platforms. I know one of them is anti-bullying, and that is something that you have a personal experience with.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about what that experience was like for you and how you hope to help other kids.
Yeah, well, it was at my age, it was really traumatizing, actually. It was my absolute best friend at the time in elementary school. And then as soon as middle school came, she completely turned on me. She got other people to turn on me, was laughing, was throwing my backpack at a fence, and all my stuff coming out, and me having to go and chase it, and people laughing in front of me going home to my parents and crying, and then it turned into cyberbullying. So on throwback, but the AIM website in the chat place.
We remember that, yeah.
That's where it started, and I actually screenshotted it, and I sent it into the school. She threatened to kill me. She threatened all these different things, and then the school was okay. I mean, they gave her a punishment. It obviously didn't help because it continued in high school, and then with other people in high school. So it stunk. It's never fun getting bullied, as people probably know. But you know what? Then I got the opportunity to be on 48 Hours, the national television show, and I spoke about my experience. And then I got to use that in pageantry, and especially when I won, and I got to go to the schools and talk about it and give advice and talk about how they can prevent it or who they can go to be comfortable enough to tell and to get help. So that meant a lot, and especially after I went to the schools, I'd get, no exaggeration, 25 to 30 messages saying, I'm getting bullied, what do I do about this, and what do I do about that? So I would help and I would answer, and then I would see those younger kids afterwards out in public, and they would say, oh my gosh, you helped with my bullying, you helped me overcome this, and the girl isn't bothering me anymore, the boy, and that really meant a lot to me. So at least I knew I made some sort of, at least in one person, that was my goal.
Right, exactly.
So,
well, I think it's kind of crazy because when people, especially parents, you look at your kid and you're like, all you hope in the world is that they don't get bullied at school. And you see someone like you who is beautiful and talented, and you think that you would be, exempt from this kind of thing. And it can happen to anyone.
Anybody.
So
anybody.
what are like a couple of tips that you give kids or schools to kind of help prevent this stuff from happening?
Yeah, so a lot of teens nowadays and kids, they are almost embarrassed to tell people because then they're known as the tattletale or the snitch, and for some reason that's just become a big thing.
Right.
But I was always very open, thank God, with my experiences. So my first piece of advice I give to people is tell somebody. You have to tell somebody right away, even if it's a friend or a friend's parent, or I would hope your parent or guardian, or even the principal. It all starts there because you can't do it by yourself, and you need that extra support and that extra push to end it and for it to be done. So the first piece of advice I give is just tell someone. And the second is to not feed into it. That's one of my biggest things, especially with teens and social media nowadays.
Yeah.
Big
it's a
problem.
whole new world.
I know, like this generation. Oh my God,
it's so scary. I know
it is scary. Sometimes I feel like I was just born in the wrong generation. Sometimes I feel like my mind is just in a little bit more mature state of mind. So what I learned is to don't feed into it because you can go and screenshot them, but then if you say something back, or if you just feed into it more, then they have something else, and then the principal doesn't even know what to do.
Worse and worse, right?
Yeah, and it just accumulates, and it's like that snowball that just keeps going down the hill. So that's another piece of advice I would give too. Those are really the main ones, I'd say. And just keep your confidence, keep your head on straight, and really just, I know it's so hard because I went through it too, but just ignore it. Be the bigger person at all times, and that's it.
Right.
And hopefully it'll end. Hopefully.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think this is a lot of people are realizing what a big issue it is. When you're seeing some really tragic ends to this kind of thing. So I think the more people like you who are sort of going out there and making this your cause and keeping it talked about is really important.
That's important too, to just keep it out there, because I mean, this was back when now I'm out of school, and this was back when I was in elementary school, and it's still even getting worse. So it's scary, and it needs to be stopped some way, shape, or form.
Exactly. Well, so talk to us a little about this past weekend. This was the new pageant for 2018.
Yes.
And of course, you are there as the reigning champ. I don't know what they call it in pageantry. The
reigning queen. The reigning queen. Yeah, title holder.
Sure, title holder.
Whatever you want. I prefer queen.
Yeah, queen. I think queen works. I think queen works. So tell us a little bit about what that experience was like, and handing over the crown to the new winner, and what it was all about.
It was, like I said before, it's a whirlwind, even handing over the crown. Pageant weekend has to be my favorite weekend in the entire world. And if any pageant girls are out there, you know what I'm talking about. It is the best. It's so exciting. But it was definitely a very emotional weekend for me. It was mixed emotions. I was upset because this was such a big part of me. It really took me out of a dark time and showed me what I want in life, and showed me, the person that I am and that I want to be. And at the same time, I'm so excited to crown someone else so they can get those same opportunities that I got and to get the same feelings. I mean, even when I'm crowning a new girl, I was like in tears, and I'm like, oh my God, because I know exactly that feeling.
Right.
And it's just the feeling like your life is about to change. So it was very emotional, taking my final farewell walk and having my slideshow up there, thanking all my sponsors. My director, Cindy's crying, and everyone's, in tears. Even the girls were coming up to me like, my mom was in tears. I was like, oh, good. I could reach those, but it was emotional, but it was so exciting at the same time. It really was, and I don't regret anything from my experience. I wouldn't change a thing. I loved everything about my year, so I was so happy to just peacefully pass it over and just be so excited for the new girl.
Yeah, let someone else sort of experience it as well. Really cool, and you also this past summer got to participate in the Miss Teen USA.
Yes.
Which is huge. And you won Miss Congeniality.
Yes.
So tell us about how did that feel to get that win?
It was really indescribable, because it's not the judges who pick Miss Congeniality, it's the girls that you're spending every single day with.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Every minute, every hour with them, in rehearsals, at lunch, at dinner. The girls who really get a chance to know you. The judges only have 6 minutes, but those girls get an entire week. So it was a surprise, actually. It was very unexpected. But all the girls were like egging me on all week. They're like, oh, you're going to get it. You're going to win it. And I'm like, listen, there's 51 girls here. I mean, just because you 3 are saying it and we got really close doesn't mean I'm actually going to get it. So I didn't want my hopes up too high. But I actually did receive it. I got that special moment to walk on stage, which I really thank the staff for and everyone at Miss Teen USA, because that was a really special moment for me and for my family to see that. And one more chance on stage alone, which was really cool. But, and now everyone's talking about it and saying congratulations and, oh my gosh, I can see why you won. So that just really, it warms my heart. It makes me really full and loved. I like it.
I love how you talk about the whole pageant experience and the other girls, and you have a really generous attitude, and it kind of seems like, is that the vibe of these competitions and these pageants, is like support from your other girls? Because I always feel like I was not a pageant girl, so I know like nothing about it.
I wasn't either, so I had no idea either. So
I kind of feel like that. Okay, here's a bunch of like pretty women competing with each other. I just imagine like cat claws, but that does not sound like what it's like at all.
Luckily, that does happen. So that is a stereotype, and everyone asks. That's like the first question everyone asks. Like, they don't want to like ask, but they're like, oh, how was it? How was everyone else? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know if it was just my year. I got so lucky, but I was like best of friends with every single girl, and we all were. We were just a tight knit family. I mean, there was no cliques. It wasn't like, oh, that table is like those girls and the West Coast, the East Coast. It wasn't like that at all. I mean, I sat with like a different person every day. I'd sit there and talk to a different person every day. All we did was get the chance to know each other and to know about the different states and in parts of the country, and it was incredible. It was like a big melting pot all week, I should say, not weekend. But there was no cat claws at Miss Teen USA or my state pageant, so hopefully it stays that way. I don't know if I just got lucky with my years, but I even this year, because I now got to be a bystander around this year's state pageant at Miss Rhode Island USA, Miss Rhode Island Teen USA. I didn't really see any cat claws either, so maybe we're kind of flipping the pageant stereotype. I hope so.
I know. I think that's great. I think that it is a positive thing. It is something that helps boost everybody's confidence and camaraderie, and it sounds like it's actually a very generous, loving kind of thing.
It is. It really is. I love it because again, these girls, especially at Miss Teen USA, have been through everything that you've been through all year. The blood, sweat, and tears. Right. So it's nice to be able to relate to girls like that, too.
Right. You have a mutual respect. You know exactly what goes into the whole thing.
Exactly.
So speaking of, now, what's going to happen? Are you going to relax a little? Are you going to, like, maybe skip the gym a couple of times? Like, what do you think?
Been there, done that. Had cheesecake for breakfast this morning.
Like, let's live a little.
Yeah, so I am going to, take some time to myself to kind of get my thoughts together after this really emotional weekend for me. But now I am going to try to go right into the fashion industry. So, it's really exciting. I'm really into fashion and clothes. It's like an addiction for me, actually. It's really bad, but I love it, and I love helping girls. I mean, every time I put up an outfit, they're like, oh, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? And I'll just tell them, and they'll say, oh my God, like, I need you to come shopping with me. I need fashion advice. So now I decided to create my own company as a personal stylist company, basically. And in the future, I do want to design, but that takes time, and I'd like the chance to do some research and get a lot of knowledge on fashion first before I kind of just dive in head first with sewing and whatnot. I still have to learn. But right now, I'm definitely going to do my own personal styling company. And right now, I'm actually in the process of building a website, making business cards, and really getting it out to the public. So this year, I really wanted to focus on my pageant experience and to really put my all into being Miss Rhode Island Teen USA. But I've had thoughts about it all year too, like what I was going to do, and now I'm kind of finalizing everything. I'm really excited about it. I already have a couple of clients on the horizon, so I'm going to dive into that, and I'm very, very, very excited about it.
What's the website going to be? Just so people can keep it on your radar in case, you have an event coming up, you need someone to style you.
Absolutely. It'll be probably, I am flip-flopping with a couple of names, but I think the main one that I love is Alexa Nicole's Wardrobe. My middle name's Nicole.
Oh, that's
so
cute.
That's what it will be, and then they can come to me. I'll work with them one-on-one and really get to see what styles they like, what they're most comfortable in, and to be able to shop for them in exactly what they want and to feel confident in. So I'm excited for that.
That sounds like fun. So any other pageants in the future? Do you think you're going to go for Miss Rhode Island at some point? What do you think?
That's a good question. I love, love, love pageantry, and throughout these 2 years, maybe almost 3 years now doing it, I really just fell in love with it, and I love everything about it. Like I said, I love being on stage. I love helping people. So There might be a chance of Miss Rhode Island USA one day. I hope so. I mean, hitting the Miss USA stage, that's always everyone's dream.
Of course,
so,
yes.
Yeah, I might work towards that. We'll see.
All right, we'll keep tabs on you. We'll try to keep up.
Yeah.
Well, Alexa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and congratulations again on an amazing year, and you have so much fun stuff coming up in the future. So thank